Good morning, YouTube. Cat here. I just wanted to talk about a few things that I bought myself for Christmas, kind of as early gifts to thee this year. So 2025, it's a little cold in Tennessee this morning. I got my coffee and I'm ready to go. So I just wanted to talk about a few things, kind of a general overview, I guess, if you will, of both of these. So I bought the Razer Kraken V4 Pros haptic headset, and I bought the Razer Freyja seat cushion. So just a few things off the bat. A buddy of mine turned me on to the seat cushion about a year ago, and I took a look at it, watched some Razer intro videos, kind of a, when the first reviews were coming out on the product and they were new, and I watched them and I thought, that's a gimmicky as hell. That's just a waste of money, especially at $400. So $399 US is what you pay. And just for transparency, $399 US is what I paid for the seat cushion. Now, the headset normally is $399. Amazon had a Black Friday sale for that for $299, so I bit the bullet there and bought that. So I've got both of these. So I want to talk about the seat cushion first. I will note that the seat cushion is of very high quality. It has a memory foam kind of feel to it. The stitching and everything, the logos, and it does something really cool when you press in the power button, which is right here. So the Razer lights up, and then you're fully lit up. Basically, it hooks up pretty simple. You got a cord that comes off the left-hand side of the cushion, and then of course, in my case, I've got it running to a power strip on the desk. So, may or may not be inconvenient for those, depending on where their wall outlet or their computer is, but just wanted to point that out. Very easy to set up. It does require Synapse 4 to run. There's an entire haptics section, and you can customize things. There's a controlled setting, there's a balance setting, there's a dynamic setting, which is really crazy. It's just kind of a blanket all kind of your audio that's incoming. So it basically turns audio into haptics. And then you've got the Sensa HD haptics setting, which are tuned for games that Razer and the developers have worked on together. And there was a handful of games at launch that worked. Now there's a lot more games, specifically games that I play like Stalker 2. That's one. Now I do play a lot of Arc Raiders. That isn't one that works, but I will talk about that experience using the audio to haptics setting here in a minute. But the seat cushion overall feels really good. I do have a Razer chair, but you can use the seat cushion on any chair, So just know that there is a little strap that goes around the back, keeps it on there nice and tight. So overall, I would say the quality of the seat cushion is actually really nice. So very impressed. Onto the headset. I will say this is probably the most expensive headset I've bought, but very nice quality. RGB I don't care for, and it's actually turned off in Synapse. It's just a battery drain. You can't see it on your head. It's cool. I get that's where the extra money's going. It's a Razer thing, full immersion, but not for me. But there are haptics in the headset, and when you pair it with the Razer Freyja, it's actually really cool. Very premium feeling headset, very comfortable. The headset that I am replacing is the Razer Nari, and it's not the Ultimate, it was the one in between, so not like the base, but the one without the haptics. Now, one thing I will note about this headset versus the Kraken V4 Pro, the V4 Pro I have to turn up. So normally I play at like 38 on the Windows volume setting, 38. That's like any higher than that, the way I have my Nari tuned, like it's gonna like blow my eardrums out. On the Krakens, I have to turn it up to like 45, 50 to match the output of the Nari, which is really weird. And I'm basically using the same EQ setup, the same sound normalization setup and all that other stuff. So that's just one oddity that I did notice, but it's not a problem per se. I just wanted to point that out in my personal kind of experience. Also, what you're paying for is this little breakout box here. Very high premium feeling. I haven't even taken the the plastic coating or the little protective film off the screen. So it's got, it's it looks like it's metal, but it's actually kind of like very high grade plastic, but it feels metal in the hand. It's really weird. I'm not really sure what material it's made out of, but you can use this on PC. It's got a 3.5 analog connection in the rear also, and you can wire it onto Xbox, but it's a little bit different. I'm not really sure how you do it, but I know it's possible, but it's primarily there for PS5 console, PC, and 3.5 millimeter in the rear. The headset also does have 2.4 connection, which is the default. You can do Bluetooth, you can do simultaneous, so 2.4 with the computer, and Bluetooth on your phone if you want. Of course, battery drain will be more significant when you're running 2 modes of communication. Personally, I do not. I just use it on my gaming rig. This is what I use it for. So, with that being said, what do I think about the overall experience? I personally bought this because there really wasn't anything else I wanted for my PC. Like, I've got enough performance. I have an ultra-wide monitor. These are just things that I personally want. And I really didn't see, like, what could I get to elevate my experience? What could make it more immersive? I'm not really a VR guy. I do have a Quest 2, but it's been sitting in a box for months. So VR is not really my thing. So I tried this out. And it was an expensive gamble if I would want it or not, or like it in the end. Would I be returning it? But I have to say I like it. I like the seat cushion more than I do the headset. The seat cushion is a lot more immersive than the headset haptics. Now, in some games that have built-in profiles, so the ones that I've tried so far, so Battlefield 6 and Stalker 2. Stalker 2 is very subtle. It uses haptics very sparingly. So I think I've maybe noticed it a handful of times walking around, like with mutants, or being right up against an explosion or something like that. It's very subtle. Battlefield 6, I thought was subtle initially until I fired the first shot out of the gun. Boom, boom, boom. You're feeling those shots coming from your weapon every time on your head and in the seat cushion. Explosion sitting inside a tank. It's moving around like you feel the engine rumble in your back. That's really cool. So that kind of immersion, I would highly recommend it. It's expensive for what they are. I won't try to hide that fact. The headset, I think, realistically, for $399, that's a tall ask. But for $299, I was willing to take a gamble on it. I do like the headset. I'm going to see if I can fine-tune it some more. I will say that when I first started watching reviews about a year ago on the headset, that the microphone quality wasn't up to par. Razer has since released a firmware update, and that's gotten a lot better. The mic quality is actually really good now. And I'm not sure what else the firmware fixed or kind of leveled out, but I did update the headset and the little box there. They both had firmware updates, and it was very easy to do. It's just an exe file, and you're done. So what do I think? Seat cushion, I'm going to give it like a solid 8 out of 10. It's very comfortable to sit in. It does elevate you up what feels like about an inch or two up out of your seat. So in my case, the only kind of slight nuisance, and I don't have a monitor arm, and maybe that's where I need to get one, but I feel like my eyes are up near like the top portion of my monitor when I sit down now, and my chair is all the way down on the floor. So it's not a big deal, and my eyes have honestly already kind of adjusted to it. I just wanted to note that it does kind of elevate you up a little bit in the seat. You can tell it does add a little bit there to the thickness on the chair, so just know that. But it is very comfortable. I didn't have back pain. I would say actually is a funny side effect. It reminds me of two things. So like getting a back massage from like a friend, like having one of those little back massager tools, like when machine guns are going off and stuff, it feels like you're getting a back massage. It's pretty cool. So it actually makes my back feel really good while I'm playing, and it's also very immersive. But yeah, you've got multiple zones. You've got in the bottom, of course, lower back and up. I would say the cutoff is probably what feels like right below my shoulder blades. But very, very cool. And of course, the haptics are adjustable in Synapse 4. Now I wanted to talk about the audio to haptics setting. So if Sensa HD is not built into a game, like it is in Battlefield 6 or Stalker 2, and you have a game like Arc Raiders, which is very popular now, and I play a lot of it, I use the dynamic setting, and you'll feel music, you'll feel breaching containers, you'll feel opening doors, jumping up and down. The distance from like the really big like arc robots, like the matriarch and the queen, like you can hear them in your ass. The further off that they get, the less the vibration is. It's so cool. So everything is like distance in conjunction with haptics. It's very cool. It's almost too much, and you can fine tune it, but it's really cool. Like the first game I tried it on was Arc Raiders, and I was like, this is crazy. This is really cool. Like opening doors, firing guns, like grenades. It's crazy. So like the dynamic setting, I would say it's probably going to be a bit too much for most folks, but not for me. I could see how it'd be fatiguing after a couple of hours, but it's awesome. But I do wish that more support would come for games built in with, especially a lot of more popular games. I can't really say too much because Stalker 2, Battlefield 6, those are a couple of bigger games, and they've got support. But Arc Raiders, I'm sure at some point will have support, but for now, you can fine tune it using a custom setting, or you can drop the frequency down. You can tune it to how much you want. Of course, you can adjust your haptics and how much vibration you want, but just if you want to run out of the box, you want to experience it, use the dynamic setting. Pretty cool. And depending on your friend's voice, like in Discord chat or something like that, it may or may not trigger haptics, and the Razer does tell you that in the settings that may or may not happen. I didn't notice it too much, but the dynamic setting on Arc Raiders, that was the first thing I tried. I just wanted to note that. That's really, really freaking cool. The headset, high quality. I do like it. It's the most expensive headset I've ever bought. I don't care for the RGB. Never going to use it. Pads are very comfortable. Very premium feeling. The buttons feel premium. Yeah, the band feels nice and good. Cushion in the band, like inside the band, feels better than my Nari. Very impressed with the build quality. I would say so far it's a solid 7.5 to 8 for me. And I've literally spent 3 hours with both of these products. So not a ton of time. The breakout box is really cool. Do like that. It was super simple to set up. So, I'm still going to hang on to my Nari, my other Nari headset. But that's kind of where I am. But I do really like both of these products, and I'm sure that Razer will continue to refine things. The company, was it Interhaptics or something? They bought them. Razer did. So, and I didn't know that Razer bought THX either. So that's another cool thing that it's been on my Nari headset too in the settings, but I didn't realize it. But there's like THX profiles for games too. So you combine that and the haptics, and it's just a whole new, kind of immersion. And just elevate your games just a step up, from where you were. And it's really cool. And another thing, music. So, excuse me. For those that have ever had like a system in their car, I don't have one anymore, but when I did when I was younger, this is what the seat cushion reminds me of. It reminds me of my 310 JL audios in the back, just singing in music. So, and the headset too, like it's got haptics of course, but it's nowhere near as strong as the seat. I haven't been in a situation yet where I'm like, I got to turn the haptics down on the headset. I do run the haptics at level 2 and then level 4 on the seat. So that's kind of the settings I'm using, but I feel like the more I play with it and hone things in and fine tune things and try different games, I'm going to learn to adjust things to my liking better and tailor things a certain way. But just out of the box and me playing with stuff, it's like kind of feel like a kid again, with my PC gaming stuff for just a little bit, and it's been fun. So would I recommend it if you've got spare cash and you want to just elevate your gameplay up just a little bit more? Sure, have at it. The headsets, man, $399 for that headset, that's a lot. I feel like it should be $299 max, but you're paying that Razer tax. But the seat cushion, that's another $399 right there. I don't know. It's all in the eye of the beholder. So, but anyways, that's just my 15-minute little overview on this, and hope it helps you guys if you're interested. Bye.